Hey, so I decided to dye my hair, and I'm really happy with the result because the other color I was dyeing it, it was not like even, and also it was fading very quickly in different parts. So yeah, the blue is very uh even, and I like blue. Pink is my favorite, but like I kind of like all the colors. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. I've been struggling today with some memories, some stuff from the past, some very not heavy as in it was because I don't know. I think sometimes like things happen IRL and you give them like more credit than stuff that happens online. For example, there's some interactions, some relationships, some you know sorry occurrences that happen like really that happened really like back there, and I've been struggling, as I said, to kind of like move past that. There are some like trigger words and some memories, some stuff that just like really gets. And I was thinking specifically of the word void because like it can mean so many things. But I remember of one particular person, a person whose relationship with me was not the best, and who ended up being somebody who spewed like a lot of bullshit, a lot of like very harmful ideologies and all that. So like I keep remembering this person when I hear the word void, and for very random reasons. So it is kind of like frustrating because I want to forget this individual. I want this memory to be kind of like removed from my hair, from my head. Like I don't really need it. Like it was a time of my life and things happened, but I kind of like want to move on. And it's interesting because there was this song, that song like they call me, the take me on, like it's from and I forgot the name of the song. I think it's a Take On Me, and that's a song that also reminded me of another different person, and that particular memory, like it was because sometimes like there's a reason why you get attached to people. So there are like the good moments, there's the beginning, and then there's like the end, and like this connection. I don't know, like as I said, like this song reminds me of this person, and I don't really know what to do to completely forget. What did happen is that I mentioned that I've been kind of like lifting some weight off my shoulders. Things have been happening. Like I'm not even like actively trying to make things happen, but like they are, and that's basically one of the things is that this individual from my past, um, I don't know, like I think I really resignified. I think I checked on this person the other day, and it was good because I basically, I just saw what this person been up to, and it seems that this person is more like reserved right now. They're just focusing on family, and that's kind of like the thing. So some of like the controversy, the more contentious points, they're kind of like in the past. So that being the case, I can kind of like move on to. So that's been the yeah, so like in this particular person, like I'm kind of like, okay, so I want you to feel the same way about this first individual, because every time I hear the word, not every time, but a lot of the times when I hear the word void, this person comes to mind, and I don't want this association. There's so many things that can be associated with the word, and I don't really know how to like override like the situation, but like until it happens, it feels like I'm kind of stuck, like I'm kind of stuck, like in this cycle. Because the thing is, not only that I remember the person, I remember that period of my life, and I remember like the things that this person used to say, and I said a lot of them kind of like harmful and very some bullshit basically. And as I mentioned before, this happened at a time in my life where I felt like I had to expose myself to things that are not really good for my mental health, because that's how I proved to myself that I was strong. So that was very toxic mindset to have, but it was kind of like the case for me for many years. So and it's just one of those things that made me sick. Certain conversations, certain topics, like the content that I consumed regarding it, all those things, they piled up, and they made me like not excited to be alive, not excited to keep going. So there's that. But yeah, so I just wanted to get off my chest that I'm kind of frustrated that there's some words or songs or stuff that it just triggers certain memories from my head, and I wish I could just let them go. I know that as long as they have some weight, they're gonna stay there, but I don't know how to disarm like these situations, these memories, this people I remember, so many people, so many one-sided relationships basically. And I don't know, because sometimes you're looking for a community, but you don't. For example, I didn't want you to admit that when I was, in my late teens and like early 20s, and that is one of those things that it's very obvious. Like, we're social creatures, so obviously we're seeking, connection and all that. But I thought that was weakness. So when I was younger, I really rejected, certain notions, and basically, yeah, it's basically that. Um, I just started sending because I received a message, kind of like change the topic a little bit, and like they have these messages that your carrier can send you, and basically like the other day I was recording and the message popped up asking me if I wanted to see it, and kind of like cut the video in half. So I was thinking like, what if somebody is recording like a very important moment, like I don't know, like the singing happy birthday to your kid's third birthday or something like that, and then you're recording and then boom, that appears and then it cuts the recording in half, and completely out of your control, completely, it's just, there's some situations where just one of those things that a little frustrating, but maybe like that is the key. I should focus on like the small inconveniences in my life, because that's kind of the way for me to forget some of like the stuff from the past, because as I said, like it reminds me of things that happen of people, but also there's the fact that I was a different person, and I'm not trying to shame myself, particularly when I was younger and I was still figuring things out. But it was, the reality of the situation was that I was very toxic. Like my brain was very toxic. The way I approached everything about me was not healthy, and there was a lot of like pretenses, lots of bullshit, and I didn't really know how to cope with things. So I did the thing that, as I said, that I would just submit myself. I think it was kind of like exposure therapy. I was trying to achieve it, but the things that had too many issues underneath that, like they made those moments like much worse. Because I think that if I were to do the same thing today, I am much more. I have like a much healthier relationship with myself and with life and with the world and all that. So if I wanted to do some exposure therapy, like right now, it would work way better than it did back then, because there were so many issues that I had to, figure out. I was really stuck on my ways, and in my ways or in my ways. And like I'm not trying to look back and be like, as I said, I'm not trying to shame myself, because I had to go through those moments for me to get to where I am today. It was a journey, and it was it's a good thing that I'm able today to just like be much better, and to be able to like process things in a way that back then it was really hard and very undoable, because that's something that's been happening. I think I'm doing better in terms of processing uncomfortable and harmful things. Naturally, I'm trying to avoid being like in those situations. That's not what I want, but they're going to happen, so I have to be prepared for when they come. And I'm not saying that I'm like 100%, not the case, but I'm past 50, I would say. I think that things are they're flowing and I'm growing, and that is all that sometimes you need for you to have a good life. You need to change, evolve, and to do better, and with that everything else falls into place, basically. For example, right now I am very focused on my writing. Things are flowing from me. I'm able to make a lot of progress. This is exactly the mindset I wanted to have for the longest time. Like, if I have this mindset, I don't know if it's a mindset, if I'm like at this point of stability every waking moment, I would be able to get everything done. And I'm back on my writing, as I said, and that means that is something that is fulfilling me, basically. Like, this is like so like single-handedly carrying me through these moments. Although like right now I'm pretty open, and I'm like, I have more things going on, but the writing, it is kind of like on fire. I'm really excited about my novel, and about completing it, and then about the next one, and it's exciting. I'm happy, and that is pretty much what I want from life, to be happy. And naturally, like, there are always going to be uncomfortable moments, like bad moments, so I'm not trying to be in denial about them. It's just that I want, from where I can, I want to get some joy. I want to get fulfillment, and right now I'm feeling great. I'm feeling really good about myself. I want to keep going. I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about what's to come. I don't know what I have in store, but I'm even excited about like the new thing I'm going to start studying next year. I'm really feeling like that could be the thing. And I've been thinking a lot about philosophy lately, like because I mentioned like there is a lot of like different courses. I'm gonna see what my grades can get me, but I don't know why like the idea has been appealing, because I feel like that's something that I would really enjoy studying, and I'll be able to like do the assignments and the tests and all of that. I mean, maybe I am really wrong, but it was a subject that I enjoyed when I was in school. Like back when it used to be mandatory for you to have philosophy classes in high school. I don't think that's the case anymore, which is really sad, because people need to learn how to think, how to process things, not only like emotionally but like rationally, and what was the type of subject that like most people didn't like. It sounded like a filler thing, so that's kind of sad. But I really enjoyed my classes, and that is something that I'm like, I don't know what I would do professionally, like what exactly could I do, but anyway, I've been thinking about work and what like regarding this, because because I'm changing my majors, and all my work experiences, they have been related to the thing I was majoring in. So I couldn't really get internship that I was doing before I started like on Gun Live. I couldn't do it with like that degree, like that. So I don't know what is in store for me, but I'm not afraid. I'm excited. I think that I'm going to I think I'm ready to fly, basically. It's something that my parents have been commenting, that I'm kind of like back to my original self when I was a kid, before traumas, they came by and they changed who I was. Like I was pretty much like this. I've always been energetic. I have ADHD, so I've always had a lot of energy. And not only that, but oh, I'm not wearing any rings. Let me. Okay, got me some rings. But yeah, like my parents, they think that I'm back to the person that I used to be when I was a kid. Very because I'm introverted, but I'm also kind of outgoing. Maybe not outgoing is not the right word. Just I like doing things. I enjoy doing having activities. I enjoy going out there. So like this, I'm less distant from other people and from the world. I'm like engaging, which is kind of like the case, well, used to be the case when I was a kid. So it is good that like I am back to that. And we're already starting to think about in the future, like me starting to do things more alone. Like that would be an interesting development for me, because as I said, like I am stable naturally. There's always that fear that this is only temporary, and that like before I realize it, I'll go back to having an episode. And like it kind of like sucks to kind of like be looking I'm kind of like looking over my shoulder, but what I'm looking for is myself. So I'm just like internally looking over my shoulder, thinking, am I going to get manic or depressed or something? But I think that where I am right now, where like I'm stable, what happened before is like me getting manic and then getting depressed. But like I'm just going to enjoy this time that I'm having, and if that happens, it happens. Like I think I've come to accept that like that's maybe, I don't want to say that it's always going to be the case, but like that it is something that is present, and that I have to do better, as I said. And not like I don't have to do better, because I can control these things. So what I have to do is try to maintain a level of stability when things are kind of like shaky. Naturally, like I'm not able to control the way I feel, the way I think, but I don't need to, basically. Like I can control my head, I can control like those elements, but I can control some things outside of me. I can maybe want to, as I said, like work for my novel. As I said, like that is one of the main reasons I'm scared, because I'm just so excited when I can get writing, because as I said, like that is kind of like, it feels like that is the thing I was meant to be doing with my life. Maybe just, I mean, I don't know, because that's something that I feel it's very delightful for me to do, and it is something that I can look at and be like, that's productive. Like I wrote a novel, like that's good. And yeah, so like that, if there's anything, maybe like in my next semester I'm gonna start a new course, and then I'll feel that way about it. But I don't know, I think it's just what I have going on right now is pretty good. you know, as I said, like I'm mentally stable, you know, like emotionally healthy, and I am productive. You know, I'm back to being a productive member of society. And as I said, like I'm not trying to establish like this be the pattern for always, because there are moments where I'm gonna have an episode, but you know, like right now where I'm in between, and hopefully this is going to continue to be the case. I can, you know, get a lot of satisfaction from like some of the things I'm doing. That's kind of like what I want. I want to be happy and fulfilled with the things I'm doing, even the ones that are not like so straightforward. You know, like writing, because writing, I think is very, it's something that you do that is very visible. You know, like you can see the progress in your words. You can see, you know, how you know, it's something that very I think that also like your skill level is easy to kind of like see, because like every new manuscript I have, you know, I hope that it is better than the last one. And honestly, I think it is. You know, when I compare the second one to the first one, and now the third one to the second one, I'm like, you know what, I'm growing, I'm improving, and I can see it very tangibly. Is that a word? It's very tangible. So I seeing this progress, and also seeing, you know, like this is what I'm doing with my time, this is what I'm being kind of like doing. As I mentioned before, I kind of like have this goal of finishing book 3 by June 2026, and if I continue on this way, on this, you know, like good moment that I'm having, like I will actually be able to do it, you know. Also, like I think that in the process of writing, there is, you know, something to be said about like adaptation and growing, because I think that what I wanted to do with this novel, with this world, when I was, you know, 17 and writing the first novel, it's different from what I have right now. I think the focus has shifted. I think things got a little bit more political. There's like less, you know, like physical combats. There's still situations, but you know, like it got a little bit more, you know, political machinations, you know, people, different groups of people dialoguing and trying to, you know, like come to a conclusion. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that maybe like 17-year-old me look at, you know, what I'm doing right now and feel a little that it's like kind of boring, and maybe not. Like I enjoy, you know, political intrigue. I think that is, you know, has always been fun. But I mean, what I was trying to do, I had to say, it has changed. I have changed as a person, and also sometimes not too much that you changed, but that you've matured. So you know, you had a notion, you had an idea, and what happens is that as time passes and you see more of the world, you get more involved with life. You experience more years of adulthood, basically. You know, you shift the way you think, and that's pretty normal. But sometimes, like I still, you know, have the bottom line is still the same, but I think that the application and the details, like they have kind of like changed. You know, for example, like I want equality. You know, I think equality is important. You know, writing gender, race, religion, sexuality. You know, like all of that, very important. But you know, like I think that my understanding of what leads to like a lack of equality among people, it has changed. You know, and as a consequence, I think that what we have to do is a little bit different. Also, like I was very combative, very, you know, feisty when I was younger. Not that I'm 100% not that anymore, but like I was very much like, you know, fucking go ready. One of those things that like honestly may not be the answer, but it's certainly an answer. And I couldn't really follow people from what they were doing. I'm probably, you know, like doing the same. So you know, it's just like sometimes like the way, you know, you get older and you get more placate. Does that work? Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, like things they cool down. I mean, naturally this process of cooling down, like there's always the risk that you will stop caring about the thing. You just get used to the fact that things are bad the way they are. And you know, and that's I'm trying hard like not to have this be the way I am, because you know, like I don't but I am numbed. That is undeniable. That I see all the things that are wrong with life, and they really discourage me. You know, like I don't want and sometimes the easiest way to deal with that is by looking away, which is a privilege, you know, being able to look away from certain things, because you know, we're talking about things that people are experiencing, suffering that they have to go through. Like they don't have a choice in, you know, the way that they're treated, you know, the way the system, you know, operates. So it's very easy for me, basically, what I'm trying to say, to distance myself, you know. And you could argue that it's selfish. I wouldn't deny it. It's just that it's just too much weight. And I mean, I'm getting back to the point where I'm engaging more, where things are not really affecting me as much. But you know, for so long, it was just dragging me down, so I had to take a step back. And as I said, I fully accept that I'm selfish and careless in this regard. But if I hadn't done that, I might not even like be here, today. So sometimes you have to make some selfish choices for your own preservation, because self-preservation is important. And it's interesting because like, if you ask me at any point in time in my life, I would probably say that, like, yes, I do. I am, preserving myself. I have a good sense of self-preservation. But it's funny because at some points, like, that was really not the case. Like, I was really putting myself out there, risking it all. And for what? and I mean, I know what and the way I wanted, but I was, really was taking a toll on my health, on my physical well-being, on my mental well-being. So, like, it was just very counterproductive, counterintuitive, and it is. I don't want to say it is what it is because I'm tired of saying that, but that was the reality of my situation at that point in time. Right now, I'm very fortunate that I have like a different perspective and that things are flowing better for me. But as I said, like right now, I can afford to engage with certain things that at certain points I think I had like a pretense that I wanted to keep. I felt like I had to really expose myself. I had to put myself out there in harm's way to prove that I was strong. I talked about it before. And what I have right now is that I don't want to do that. I don't want to expose myself unnecessarily to anything, because as I said, like I rather focus on the things that are kind of like good in my life, the things that fulfill me, the things that will keep me going. And as I said, fully accepting being selfish, but it is what I have to deal with. That is kind of like where I am at. Maybe a year from now I'll be able to engage once again with people, because right now I had a couple of situations this week where I think that if they had happened a couple of years ago, I would have been more confrontational than I was. But I've kind of like come to kind of like accept, even in a very resonated manner, that there's sometimes like you can't change people's mind. Like they have to be willing to change, and when you're really set on their ways, there's nothing you can do. And so like I don't want to engage in a conversation, a discussion that's just going to leave me frustrated. So yeah, 2 different situations. I've just listened. I haven't really said anything, and it's crazy because I think that if I'd done this like 5 years ago, I would feel very weak, very pathetic, very like passive, and those are things I couldn't handle being that way. And right now I'm just like, you know what? Because there are things that you can talk about because they're kind of like in this gray area, but there's some stuff that like they are always set in their ways, and I wish they would change. I'm an atheist, but sometimes I feel compelled to pray that people are going to change their minds. I don't think they will. I'm talking specifically about my family, people who are closer to me, people who have some kinship with, and because there are things that they believe in, things that they say that hurt me. And basically I told them, and what happened is that they don't say those things anymore, but they still think that way. So they're still indirectly hurting me. And as I said, as I said, like I'm focusing more on the positive things, like the points we have in common, like the love that exists. There is something to be said about the fact that like you can truly say that you love somebody if you don't accept who they are. And then they were saying, but I do accept that, but like you are praying for them to change. So like I don't think you do. I think that there's still something to be worked here. But that's kind of like this. I had this happen this week, and I decided to overlook it. And honestly, kind of like worked the best because getting stuff out of your chest, like saying things out loud. Like I think for the longest time, I needed to get stuff out of my chest. I couldn't just take it. And when I said it, like I felt better because I got my piece out there. So maybe the reason why right now I'm like less engaged in this type of thing, in like this being very confrontational, is because like I think that I've accepted myself. I'm okay with myself, so I don't feel like I have to prove anything to anyone. So I can just exist, and existing sometimes involves like not engaging, so that the conversation just dies off. Just dies out, and you can kind of like move on. That is like that's my take. That it is sometimes better for to overlook certain things. Because like that whole thing leads to like a discussion, and that discussion is going to lead nowhere, because it's going to lead to people knowing where I stand and knowing where they stand, and nobody's changing naturally, because it's not that it's impossible for people to change. It's just that in the specific things that I wish people around me would change, they're not. Like it's based on religion basically, so like it's very hard for them to for them to change, because it has to do with like that type of belief. But there are people who like their way of looking at the world isn't based on religion, and so it might be possible for for us to kind of like get somewhere. But so far, the examples I have, they're just, and I'm fortunate because, as I said before, like so many people, they get like very dramatically rejected. In my case, there's still the whole like, we love you, just the way you are, but there's an asterisk. And, there is, like I would like to say that there's no right or wrong, but, like there is a wrong way. And it's not that I'm accepting that that's the case, it's just that, it's complicated. Like human relationships are complicated, and there is, as I mentioned before, I've been trying to get more. I've been trying to interact more. To engage more. Socially with people, and sometimes for you have to overlook certain things for you to develop like a relationship. Of course, I had like many relationships in my life where that's not the case. That we're very much on the same page, but it's not. It's not always the case. So yeah, so it's good that I have those relationships so I can vent about like this frustrations that I have with them. But as I said, I'm kind of like I've given up on trying to change people's mind, because also like I think one of the reasons why I was so like into that is because I like the notion of changing someone's mind. Like I think it would be good for my ego, it's good for my sense of self, just be like, hey, I have like very good argumentation powers, and I'm very like persuasive. And so there was that. And right now, as I said, I'm not really trying to prove myself to anyone. I just want to be. I want to enjoy myself, and I want to enjoy my life, and that is kind of like my priority right now. Of course, that like this is a very generalized thing. So like in practice, like I break this down in like a lot of like small boxes. That way it's easier for me to process things, and for me to just have some guidelines for my daily life, because I don't like routine. I don't like having to do the same thing, same day every day, or every week. But you get used to it. There's some things that are important. For example, my Zumba class and swimming. Like those are two things that I have to do each of them twice a week, and that's going to be the case. Okay, I'm even like excited to go back to swimming in my Zumba class, which was something that was not present a little while ago. So there's that. But basically what I'm trying to say is that I don't like routine, but having some goals for you to follow throughout your days, it's kind of like it can be exciting, like you can think, because I'm trying to expand also my list of interests. So the things that I enjoy doing, the things that I don't enjoy doing, and because some things like you don't enjoy doing them, but like you have to do them. So I think like my strategy right now is like getting those done as quickly as possible, so I can focus on the pleasant things, on the things that there's the possibility that maybe if they don't have, like they're not joyful right now, there's still the possibility of me finding joy and fulfillment regarding them in the future. But yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap this up for today. Very frustrated with like these individuals I can't forget, even though like they've been almost like a decade out of my life, because I think that is one of the void. I think it was like 2017, 2018. So I think it's probably closer to 2017, because 2018 I think I was away. It's when I started to distance myself from stuff online, and started living more out there. So like this one is going to be 2026 in a couple of months. So it's been so long. Why does this person still torment me? And I think it's because there's still something to be processed there. There's still something that I have to do. I don't know what, I don't know how, but I do have the other situation from like the person I remember them because of like the AHA song. And so like I did something that fixed it. I don't know exactly what, exactly how I'm gonna do it again, but it is possible. So at least I have that. So anyways, bye.